Good morning, everyone. Oh,
Longest 18 weeks of my life.
There he is with the coffee.
we do have one. We'll wait just a second.
No,
No.
let's go. Close.
It's a nice tie, Al.
Thanks. I got a picture today I got to go to.
Looks good. I like that
New
tie.
advertising, I guess.
I thought it was a mugshot.
That's in the post office. They don't let you wear a tie.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone. It's 7 a.m. October 30th, 2024, and we'll call this meeting of the Fergus Falls City Council Committee of the Whole to order. Roll call, please.
Fish.
Here.
Joe.
Here.
Fleming.
Here.
Flores absent. Kramer.
Here.
Rachels.
Here.
Hicks.
Yep.
And we have a quorum. Now, first item for discussion this morning is Cleveland Avenue Street Improvement Project, and we'll call on our city engineer, Brian Yuvaro. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning, Your Honor, and council members. Yes, as staff, we've been evaluating additional street and utility reconstruction projects, hopefully for the coming year. However, these projects take some time to develop. At this time, we've been exploring the reconstruction of Cleveland Avenue from Franklin Avenue to Fur Avenue. The existing utilities in the streets are beyond their useful life, and we're recommending this be a potential candidate for next year. Like past projects, a portion of the street reconstruction will be funded through 429, or that's what we're proposing for special assessments for a portion of the street. Because of this, I contacted Patch and Messner. They're do our professional appraisal services for the special benefit for these projects. They provided a fee in the amount of not to exceed $9,000 for this work. So at this time, if there barring any questions, I'm requesting three things: resolution initiating public improvement 5375, 7223, and public improvement 8240. I'm also requesting to combine all these PIs I just noted into CP 5964. And I'm requesting a resolution to accept Patch and Messner's professional service proposal for the special benefit analysis in an amount of $9,000. So at this time, I'll open up to any questions you may have.
Thank you, Brian.
I'll make that, Your Honor.
Move this to the council with a motion.
Second.
Anthony, thank you.
I got
Al,
a
second.
question.
Question, go ahead, Scott.
When we did the project on Cleveland around after this, no, that's where that ended. I can't remember. I just on that. Or is it Ordall? What road is that?
Franklin.
Franklin, yeah.
down there, correct.
So it's good up to that point.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I thought it was back on what's the other one that goes south? The next one to the
Cecil?
Cecil. Yep. I thought it ended there. Okay, perfect. That's all I wanted to know.
Definitely in need.
It definitely after that it is. I just didn't know where it ended. So
That's where we're, yes, we'll get a final design, but once we get to the utilities, look at design and everything, we'll adjust the limits accordingly to make sure.
great.
we're
No, that's good.
Thanks, Scott. Bill.
Just a side note on all these street projects, we'll be coming back with the capital improvement plan. We're also probably going to look at putting together a street. We're going to take an excerpt out of the entire capital improvement plan to bring before the council a street reconstruction bonds capital improvement plan. We lay out the 5-year. So that's, assessments may not reach the 20% level, and then street reconstruction bonds is a different statute. So we're working on that and working with our bond attorneys. We'll come back in the future with that. So
Thank you, Bill. Any other questions from the council? There's a motion to move this to the Monday night's meeting. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. We'll put that on the consent agenda unless anyone objects to that. Thank you. Next item is a 2025 street and utility reconstruction project number 2. Again, we'll call on Brian Yuvaro.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Just like the project before, we're also evaluating another street and utility reconstruction project. Could be for 2025 or 26. However, we like to get going on the design for this project. So the second project we've identified is reconstruction of Sheridan Street in Arlington from Channing Avenue to Alcott Avenue, along with Bancroft Avenue, bonded between Sheridan Street and Arlington. Once again, this existing street and underlying utilities are beyond their useful life, and we're recommending starting the reconstruction process for like the previous memo. Just like the previous one, once again, we might be looking to assess a portion of the street through 429 special assessments. Therefore, I requested a proposal from Patch and Messner for the professional services for appraisals in the amount of $9,500 for this project. So just like the other projects, we're looking at potential funding sources. That could be the PIR bonds for the street portions, utility, storm sewer, water, and sanitary sewer enterprise funds for the other portion, just like all the past projects we've done at this time. So for this, I'm requesting the resolution initiating public improvement 5379, 7226, and 8241. Second action, I'm requesting combine these three numbers into CP 5963, requesting a resolution to accept Patch and Messner's professional service proposal for the special benefit analysis in an hourly not to exceed amount of $9,500, and a resolution ordering the preliminary engineering report.
Thank you, Brian. We can accomplish this with a motion. Thank you, Laura. Jim, second. Well, if it's okay, we'll again put this on the consent agenda Monday night. Any questions for Brian? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Next item, we'll call on Matt Lemke to discuss a land lease for a biosolid application. Good morning, Matt.
Yeah, good morning. So just a little background on the Fergus Falls Wastewater Treatment Plant's biosolids program for your information. All our sites are Minnesota Pollution Control Agency regulated. We have to get pre-approval for any site that we apply biosolids on. Currently, we apply approximately 1.75 million gallons. That would include spring and fall hauling. That's equivalent to, just for numbers, about approximately 300 semi-loads going out onto farmlands. And so that's why we are here today. Currently, we face some limitations with sites, especially in the spring, due to road restrictions. By entering into this agreement with Marla C. Schmidt Trust, this will help us to rotate our application sites, and we'd like to, again, try to rotate where we're applying our biosolids on different sites that we have. Again, this site is approved by the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency already. It's about 3 miles away from our facility, so there's some easy access to it, and it's on a 10-ton road. So we wouldn't face some of the road restrictions that we currently can have. So the proposal in front of you is first is the lease agreement to establish a 10 to 12 year lease agreement with Marla C. Schmidt Trust for her 65 acres at $50 per acre. And then the second ask is that we are authorized the city staff to discuss a further purchase of the property with the property owner.
Thank you, Matt.
Make the motion.
We can move this to the council. Thank you,
I think it's
Scott.
second.
Anthony, second. Any questions for Matt? Go ahead, Scott.
You mentioned that you rotate, just for curiosity, do we have several of these sites, and how many, and how far away are they? I'm just wondering how the process works.
So our main sites that we have is, of course, our city-owned, and that is around the airport. And so we ply around our airport as our main sites. We do have a few farmers outside of that, out by French area and stuff like that, the French elevator that we do apply on in the fall. A lot of the issues with farmers, though, of course, is compaction and the fear of compaction, especially in the spring. And so you have to do a few more things to mitigate that. Usually we use our egg gator for that purposes. And so that's what the city has is mainly around the airport is our main application sites.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Any other, any other questions for Matt? All in favor of the motion to move this to the council on Monday, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. That on the consent agenda as well? Fine with everyone? Thank you. Item number 4 is Sculpture Walk Project Manager update, and we'll call on Kim Embertson. Good morning, Kim.
Good morning, Mayor and council members. It's my pleasure to come with good news. We had a meeting, the Public Arts Commission, which I chair, I was able to meet with the two of the trustees from the Frank Vadine Trust, as well as the trust officer, Scott Hoskins, and tell them of how we are proposing an idea of bringing artist sculptures to the Main Street along between Union and Cascade, with the idea that that would also help attract people to that section of Main Street, and hopefully they would also stop in the stores. So they like that idea of being able to extend the work that they've already done on the riverfront area to be able to bring people around into the storefronts on Lincoln. So once they heard that idea, they considered it, and they were agreed to fully fund our request of $65,100 over a 3-year period of time, starting in 2025. I've talked to Scott Hoskins about how that would be funded, and he's agreed to do the schedule of $25,100 in 2025, and then $20,000 each of the next 2 years. We have some infrastructure, pedestals, and some work to do to get the structure, the system going. That's will be front-loaded, and then after that, the cost of operating it will be less each of the next 2 years, with the hope that if it's successful and we're able to continue to seek private funding for this, we'll be able to extend it on to future years. But we want to get started the right way, and in order to do that, our plan calls for having a manager that actually helps set up the structure of who do we contact, how do we get a hold of artists, how do we receive that information and set up contracts with them, as well as coordinate with city staff to be able to say, how do we safely establish these, get them in places so that they're safe and they don't interfere with other city functions on the streets, which are really a city on the sidewalks, which are a city responsibility. What we're now is requesting that city staff be able to put out a request for qualifications for somebody to be the manager, and the funding is lined up for that, is part of the plan that Vadine has funded. So we'd like to get started on the project early. We've talked to other sculptors who are involved in sculpture walks in other cities, and they say quite often by February their sculptures are already committed to other places. So we want to be able to start with the manager in December to get some advertisement out there, and so that we can align ourselves with the artists that are doing this kind of work throughout the region. So at this time, we'd ask that we could start that process.
Thanks, Kim.
Open to any questions that might have about the sculpture walk or the process.
Thanks, Kim. Someone like to make a motion, we bring this to the
I'll make
council? Thank you, Scott. Second, Jim. Questions for Kim? Scott?
Just one comment. And when we had this before us on the 5th of August, the motion included the requirement that the proposed sculptures would then be brought to the council for approval before any installation. And in the information that we saw, it was listed that it would consult with the city staff and whatever. I thought that it would be just a good reminder that,
Right.
that
and
the
as
proposals also come to the city council.
The Public Arts Commission recommends to the City Council anyway. That's been our function. So we would continue to use that process so that you would know what's going on, so you're aware what's being put out in the name of the city.
Very good.
So,
Thank you.
Great.
Thanks, Kim. Thanks, Scott. Any other questions? All in favor of the motion to bring this to the council, say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. That motion carries. Is that consent agenda as well? Is that
Yep.
something
Yeah,
that
I think so.
Consent agenda.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Kim. Thanks for your work on this. Let's see. Brian and Anthony have would like to bring a discussion of the Regional Airport Authority, and I guess we'll start with Brian. Go ahead, if you want to introduce this item.
Yes, thank you. I just want to note this is just for discussion purposes and everything at this time, requesting a little bit of action. But I've been working with the Friends of the Fergus Falls Municipal Airport. They've been brainstorming over since the establishment of them, opportunities to increase commercial aviation and circulation and growth opportunities at our Fergus Falls Municipal Airport. Of the opportunities, discussion about establishing a regional airport authority has been discussed quite frequently. since then. So we've reached out to St. Cloud Regional Airport. Their manager was willing to contact and discuss their process to become a regional airport authority, which occurred, I believe, around 2021 after many years of discussion. St. Cloud Regional Airport transitioned from a city-owned, levy-supported entity to an airport authority supported between the three counties of Benton, Sherburne, and Stearns County. This authority, once it was established, was governed by a bunch of volunteers that were approved by the St. Cloud City Council, along with Benton, Sherburne, and Stearns County Board of Commissioners. This new airport authority acts in the review, advisory, and decision-making capacity regarding airport operation, construction, and also, as I noted, promote the public welfare of the airport, promote the national, state, and local air navigation and transportation, develop the full potential of aviation at the St. Cloud Regional Airport, and to provide the most economical and effective use of aeronautic facilities. So in addition to the advantages that I noted above, the establishment of a regional airport authority could benefit local taxpayers. Currently, the city supports the local city taxpayers support all the Fergus Falls Municipal Airport operations and capital improvements in addition to state and federal grants that we commonly receive. By establishing a regional airport authority jurisdiction, the local tax base could be expanded beyond an undefined limits at this time, thereby reducing the local taxpayer-supported operations with this larger tax jurisdiction. This also could increase the potential of receiving additional state and federal funds as well. Like I noted, we have not, this is all in its infancy, we have not identified any potential shareholders. The Friends of the Airport is just requesting authorization to engage local and regional governing boards to discuss the feasibility and the benefits of the creation of a regional airport authority. I want to note this authorization does not allow the Friends of Fergus Falls Municipal Airport to enter into any agreements on behalf of the city or expend any funds without the city council's approval first. So recommend action is to authorize the Friends of the Fergus Falls Municipal Airport to engage local regional governing boards to explore the feasibility of a regional airport authority at the Fergus Falls Municipal Airport. And I'll open up to any questions you might have.
Thanks, Brian.
I can make that motion and I can add to what Brian's got to say.
We have a motion.
I can second that.
Second, yeah, and I would just say I was, along with Anthony, at the meeting when the St. Cloud Regional Airport director came in. Appreciate the effort that the Airport Advisory Committee is
I
on
think,
behalf
you know,
of this.
one of the other things on this was that, obviously, like everything, everybody has a budget, and the state, looks, and the feds are looking, obviously, at any ways that they can lower support to anything they can. And if we can gain regional status, that will help us in more ways than just the name, because, we're, at the moment, the FFA are requesting, obviously, a study on the airport to continue the funding, and one of the things that they put in there was about the length of the runway, that they would only fund a certain length. If we get regional status, that will actually maintain the length of the runway that we have, which allows, obviously, larger aircraft to land. The shorter the runway, obviously, the less potential traffic. It looks like at this point in time they're not going to do that, but it's a possibility. And as Brian said, obviously, the citizens of Fergus Falls are 100% funding any activity from a city perspective to the airport, but the airport is used by many people in the county. And so, the Friends want to have that discussion with the county as to how do we progress that, whether it's, 100% Otter Tail County or whether it ends up being, Western Otter Tail that becomes the kind of the region. But just gaining that regional status and gaining more, obviously, taxpayer base will lessen that commitment to the citizens of Fergus. So at this point in time, it's preliminary, and there's no guarantees that the county will obviously, support this at this point. But unless we open the discussions, we're not going to know.
Thanks, Anthony.
A question. There was a time when we had air service here in Fergus, weren't we a regional airport at that point?
Yep, yep.
But we lost that status after we lost the,
Regional authority.
It-
Not a
The air
regional
service?
authority.
Not,
Yeah,
It's always
it was
been
a-
the city.
yeah.
It's a,
all right.
yeah, essential air
Central Air
service.
Service.
10 years ago.
We're too close to Fargo. So essentially, they say you can go to a kind of Fargo or you can go to St. Cloud. And I think the only ones now, I think Bemidji has it,
Thief River Falls does.
Thief River Falls, and they cut a lot of the funding, because it was subsidized, and the feds obviously got funding.
Okay, so this sounds like something that is a good discussion. We thank the Fergus Falls Airport Advisory Board for entering into these discussions. We look forward to them bringing back any news and how we can create efficiencies and work with the county on this. So we'll bring this to the, I guess, at this point, there's a motion to
Yep.
bring this for approval, to allow them to go out and negotiate. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. And I, maybe just clarify, not negotiate, just to discuss and
Yeah.
bring back. The city council,
Purely
yeah.
reach
yeah.
out,
I
get it
misspoke.
started
They're not negotiating on behalf of the city, they're just discussing, and they're going to bring it back for
See what the
negotiation.
opportunities are.
There you go. Thank you for bringing that forward, Anthony and Brian.
Thank you.
Let's see, that's all the agenda items. Scott, did you
Yeah,
have?
I just, Bill, can you give us a little bit of an update on our tax levy, what's going on? We haven't talked about it really at the council level for quite some time, and
Sure, I'll go off the top of my
Just a
head
quick
here
one.
today, but the Tax Levy Committee has continued to meet since our September meeting here in the council chambers. Probably been meeting every other week, I would say. So continuing to work on that with the goal of bringing the tax levy down. We'll be meeting after this meeting now as well, continuing on. But as of today, we're looking at landing somewhere between 5 and 6%. So, that is good news, bringing it down from the 9.75 that we presented. Certainly part of that, and we'll explain it more when we get to the budget hearing, but we have electrical generation transition aid. And we got some of those numbers now during October where we're able to calculate those. That aid, that's long-term aid.
That's 20 year. That's
20 years,
That's not
yep.
one-time funding too. That's
It'll
important.
phase
That's
down
20 year.
5% a year over 20 years.
And we've worked hard to establish
Yeah.
that aid.
Yeah,
we've
the
been
city's
working on
worked-
that for 6 years, or anyway, since
No,
since the
that's-
closure of the Who Lake plant. So thanks to city staff for continuing to bring that forward and get that realized this year. It's the first year
Yeah.
we got that. So
So, and among other reductions as well, we're looking at not filling a vacant position right now. So that's part of those reductions as well, and kind of reworking how we do some of those duties. So, yeah.
thanks, Bill, for your work, and Andrew and Sandy, Scott, and Laura. And just again to reiterate, we started with a 9.1 fixed costs in this budget.
Yep.
So to get that down to somewhere between 5 and 6, and we're continuing to whittle that down. That's hard work, and I appreciate that. So, anything
you, Bill.
from Scott
You
or
betcha.
Laura?
No, just looking forward to working on it a little bit more.
keep working. We're going to keep working. All right, Lynn, any other additional? And with that, have a great day, everyone. We're adjourned.